So, is Gloriana in GTA 6? And if it is, what is it based on? I'm here to tell you all of the facts, and I will be providing my own non-professional opinion on the subject, which is probably correct. My name is Saukko, and I helped the creation of the GTA 6 mapping project. I also know some stuff about GTA 6. So, Gloriana. Many people speculate that it's a state north of the state of Leonida and it's a part of the GTA 6 map. Basically, all of these theories are based on license plates we see in the trailers and screenshots. The first Gloriana license plate we saw was in the leaks. It was just a basic plate that had the text GL on it. And in trailer 2 and the screenshots, we saw more Gloriana license plates. On the walls of the Rusty Anchor, these are much older ones, on the back of this car, and on several other bikes and cars. The older ones aren't that interesting as they could be basically based on any license plates in the US. The newer ones have the text Gloriana on it and they have a dolphin jumping over the sun or another ball of sorts. This specific one has a yellow strip at the bottom. People speculate that this is based on the Georgia license plate, as in the 19s the plate had a similar gradient. However, it's no longer in use. However, this version lacks the central object of sorts. Of course, it won't be a dolphin in real life, and the gradient really isn't high enough compared to the real life plate. Also, the plate saying United States at the bottom isn't typical for Georgia license plates, or in that matter, any US license plates. So yeah, the Gloriana license plates might be based on Georgia license plates. However, it's like that Rockstar on purpose made them a bit or a lot different than the actual Georgia license plates. For example, if we compare the San Andreas license plates to real California license plates, they are basically a one-to-one match. Same with Leonida and Florida license plates, which to me seems like that Gloriana, at least based on the license plates, might not be based on Georgia. But let's just assume it means it is Georgia. What else backs Gloriana being Georgia? Well, both start with a G, and the state of Georgia is named after George II, the King of Britain, and Gloriana is named after Queen Victoria I. So both would be named after British rulers. So like in that sense, Georgia kind of makes sense. There isn't much backing it up, but the theory is not complete schizo. Then what's there against Gloriana being Georgia? Well, Georgia is already part of Leonida, or at least parts of Georgia are parts of Leonida. For example, at least the Augusta Medical Prison is located in central Leonida here, and presumably other locations in this area are also from Georgia. Then parts of the Mount Calaga National Park are probably from Georgia, and then we have other things even from other states, not just Georgia, but things from farther north. For example, Mount Calaga, which is based on the Table Rock Mountain from North Carolina. The Cherokee Indians called the Table Rock Calaga as it was at the eastern edge of the Cherokee lands, and Calaga means east or eastern or sunrise or something like that in Cherokee. Then we have the Devil's Tramping Grounds from North Carolina too, and they were mentioned in the leaks. And then the Vertex Refinery from Mobile, Alabama, and then the town of Blue Ridge, which was mentioned in the leaks as Red Hill, which is located in Georgia, north of Atlanta in real life. And all of these are located in Leonida and not Gloriana, thus kind of implying that whatever Gloriana is north of North Carolina. The description of Mount Calaga says that Mount Calaga is at the northern border of Leonida. However, as long as you can read, you can understand that all of Mount Calaga is in Leonida. Stop trying to say that, oh, Mount Calaga is in Gloriana, blah blah blah, because of the border. Like honestly, I don't even think that the people who write these descriptions have seen the game itself. As for example, this description implies that Mount Calaga and Watson Bay are near to each other, which they obviously are not. So I wouldn't take this northern border thing too seriously. Of course, the map could again be an island and the northern border is just sea. Then, what is Gloriana actually? Of course, Gloriana is a name given to Queen Elizabeth I. So instead of taking another British royal, what if we just see what real life states are named after Queen Elizabeth I? Well, there is one, which is the state of Virginia. And conveniently, Virginia is the state north of North Carolina, where Mount Calaga is. So if we don't consider the plates, Virginia is a much better option, as long as we keep in mind that Leonida isn't just just Florida. Rather, it's an amalgamation of several southern states, including Georgia, Alabama, and the Carolinas. And also, if we take a look at the historic borders of Virginia, we can see that Rockstar's decisions start to make more sense. In 1606, Virginia extended all the way to the 34th parallel, so it included parts of modern Georgia, parts of South Carolina, and most of North Carolina. During this time, the Spanish also were in Florida, and their claim of Florida was basically all of the American East Coast. But they only realistically had control up to Savannah in Georgia. So I think that in the GTA universe, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and maybe Alabama do not exist. Rather, there are two significant states in the southeast, and Georgia and the Carolinas have been divided to be part of those two states. Leonida, which is the old Spanish colony, and Gloriana, which is the old British colony based on the Virginia Company claim. This makes sense, as Leonida is named after Ponce de Leon, who was the first European to discover and name Florida. And then Queen Elizabeth was the queen when the British started colonizing North America. Of course, Gloriana won't be this coast-to-coast thing they had going on back then, but rather it would be on the East Coast, limited to the Appalachians or something, as we know that Tennessee exists in the universe because of Tennessee whiskey. Okay, so if my opinion is that Gloriana is mainly based on Virginia, with some things taken from Carolinas and Georgia, just like with Leonida 2, then why do the license plates look so much like Georgia license plates? Is Rockstar not trying to tell us that Georgia is in the game or that Gloriana is based on Georgia by showing us those things? Well, I think they tried to do a slight trick on us and lie to us. But YouTubers and other social media influencers clickbaiting about fucking Liberty City being the game because of fucking license plate kind of ruin the thing. We need to go all the way back and take a look at the Trailer 1 website, which had this piece of text on it. Grand Theft Auto 6 heads to the state of Leonida. This mirrors a lot what the GTA 5 announcement said. Grand Theft Auto 5 focuses on pursuits of almighty dollar in the reimagined present-day Southern California. And as we know, GTA 5 took place in Southern California specifically, and didn't include San Fierro or Las Venturas. So here, by saying that the game takes place in the state of Leonida, Rockstar is trying to tell to us that the game takes place only in a single state, so that we don't expect too much about the game. So that's what Rockstar said on purpose, but some people didn't listen to it. Then, when Trailer 2 came out, Rockstar thought they could do a small trick on us. Firstly, they assumed that everyone knows that the game takes place only in the state of Leonida. Then, by introducing Gloriana plates, which they on purpose made to look like Georgia plates, in order to make us think that Gloriana is Georgia and that Leonida is only based on Florida, because if Gloriana is Georgia, then Georgia could not be part of Leonida. So they tried to hide the fact that Leonida is an amalgamation of several southern states, but they failed at that, and now people just think that Gloriana is based on Georgia, even though it actually isn't, and that Gloriana is in the game, even though it isn't, as they have said before. So that's the explanation for why there are so many Gloriana plates. Rockstar tried to make us think that the map is smaller than it actually is. And in the new Ultimate Edition screenshots, we see a single Gloriana license plate, which gets removed and changed with the text warning. So Rockstar is trying to tell us that we are thinking wrongly about the state of Gloriana. So my personal opinion, you of course can think whatever you want to, is that Gloriana is based on the state of Virginia, with of course some parts of it taken from Carolinas and Georgia, and Leonida 2 is mainly based on Florida, with parts from Carolinas and Georgia added to the map. So basically the Carolinas and Georgia have been divided in between the two states. And of course Gloriana won't be in the game, it will just be Leonida. So thank you for watching, subscribe for more GTA 6 content as we wait for Trailer 3 and the game itself. Check out my previous videos, the Jason backstory video is pretty good, so you should watch it if you haven't, and like the video and comment if you have something to say. Thank you.